We want the peat to be mounded from the level ground here up to the top of the bales. Yeah, gentle slope.
Fens are peat-forming wetlands dominated by groundwater. Fens are fed by springs that keep the soil saturated, and that means that the dry leaves and roots gradually accumulate to form organic, rich soils called peat. Peat must be greater than 40 centimeters, or 16 inches, thick in order to be considered a fen. Peat accumulates slowly, less than 1 centimeter per 100 years, and so they take thousands of years to develop. The fens in the San Juan region are thought to be over 10,000 years old. What is unique about Ophir Fen is that it is an iron fen and is fed by mineral-laden acidic groundwater with a pH as low as 3.5. The plant communities that thrive in these conditions are very rare and are considered nearly irreplaceable by the Colorado Natural Heritage Protection Program. We are interested in restoring this fen because in its current condition it is eroding rapidly into Mineral Creek. When this site was mined, it was drained through a series of ditches, and these ditches lower the groundwater table, drying out the fen and allowing the peat to begin to decompose. If the water is not returned flowing through the subsurface of the site, the peat will be lost, and that record of 10,000 years of accumulation will be lost.
I am Tim Cutter. I am the Wetland Restoration Technician for the Ophir Fen project. The project really was comprised of three different parts, or three different projects. One was we needed to address the steep bare area that was, all the vegetation was covered by eroded materials from the larger bare area above it. The slope was so extreme, we actually needed to address the whole issue with handwork. So initially we graded the entire area, filled in all the runnels and the erosion that occurred to help prevent future erosion. And then we started to place sediment controls in the form of these straw wattles that help to collect sediment and water that are coming down the hill so they don't gain energy and erode the slope further. After that, we added mulch to the area, which helps to insulate any of the vegetation we put into the area, as well as create a moist environment and in itself help to reduce erosion. So we did a lot of the mulching with a bunch of different volunteer groups, including Gretchen Fitzgerald's Ecology Camp, Colorado Mountain Club volunteers, the Forest Service hydrology crew, employees from the Durango Mountain Resort, as well as I think a few other kind of random friends and volunteers who came up there. In addition to that, we also seeded the entire area and revegetated the area with what we call vegetation plugs, which are just small, healthy vegetation taken from another healthy part of the fen and planted into these bare areas. And we also did this to the larger bare area above the steep bare area. However, before we could do that, we used heavy equipment to grade that entire slope and excavate what deposited materials were left there from mining. And actually, by doing so, we had material that we could use to fill in one of the larger ditches that the mining excavated to kind of drain the fen, drain the wetland. So we used the material to infill that, as well as we used the heavy equipment to place plywood dams throughout the ditch to transfer the water into the less healthy section of the wetland. We also had volunteers, MSI interns, actually help install these ditch dams, which were pretty much aspen mulch bales stuffed into a ditch as a dam to help divert the water from going into the stream and rather going into the bare areas of the fen to help kind of restore the natural water regime throughout the area to help revegetation. For the future plans of the area, we're going to have to, of course, do that continued monitoring as well as even more further revegetation to help promote the colonization of the area. We're going to have to add more mulch as the mulch gets condensed or compressed on the ground, and we'll also probably have to trade out or adjust some sediment controls we have up there. And it'll be interesting to see how the restoration takes shape over the next few years.